That's okay. Dude, Terry, I just got back from Taco Cabazas, man. They were freaking. Wait, what's going on?
Yo, bitch! I thought we were shaving our heads.
Holy shit! Take off the sunglasses. What's going on, everybody? My name is tight. It's tight. What's going on, everybody? My name is Adam of the Almost Sideways podcast, and this is our sideshow where we talk all things Breaking Bad, going back from the first season and rewatching everything for the first time.
On a Breaking Bad.
Yes, of course.
There it is.
And of course, I am joined by my co-host, the fearless leader himself, Terry. How you doing, man?
I just want some tacos, man. Taco Cabeza. Yo quiero taco cabeza.
There, Kyo Taco Bell. And then we're also joined by Discount NoHo Hank / Heisenberg. Todd, how you doing?
Pretty good. I was more thinking about, hanging out at the Gap. Maybe go to Orange Julius. Something like that.
That's a good. Where are we at? A shopping mall? The shopping mall closed?
It was really funny because we kind of shouted out Todd on the last podcast, talking about how he needs to be on, and then later on, after he heard that, he's like, dude, I need to be on. You called me out. I need to be there. So here he is. The first three-way sideshow.
Yeah. Oh, that kind of sounded dirty, but I like it. I also it was a blessing that I got sick, and then we were able to postpone it, and then we make it work. And so, yeah, I'm happy that Todd's here. It's going to be a good conversation for sure.
It will.
So welcome aboard to the craziness that is the sideshow, where things are planned almost perfectly, but they're not. So
there you go. Well, Todd, you've been a faithful listener to the sideshow so far, and I think you're watching along with us, which is why it's easy for you to jump in. So what have you thought so far, and why am I right and Adam's wrong?
about many things.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Adam has been hilariously wrong about some things. Like deliberately wrong, but it's an entertaining listen though. I mean, it's interesting hearing this from somebody's perspective that hasn't seen it before and is going through slowly and isn't just binging it, because I don't know anybody that did that in season 1. So,
well, the question is, what did I deliberately get wrong? Or is it something?
Oh, that Crazy 8 was going to escape somehow from the bike lock.
Oh yeah.
You're like, I remember that he gets out, and I'm like, no, he doesn't. He really doesn't.
Then I'm like, the whole time I've been referencing last couple episodes, there's this they're breaking into something. Yeah, it's the season finale, and just remember that one scene. Do not remember the baby shower. Do not remember the whole thing with Marie. Do not remember anything afterward. It's just nothing about Tuco, the best part of the show. But nothing, just that one specific scene.
And it isn't even that long of a scene, but yeah, I mean, it does have some funny beats.
I just love that you remembered nothing between Crazy 8 and in episode 2 and the break-in. I like nothing.
Spotty memory.
Yeah, it's good. Now, I do have to shout out that that Todd
is the master.
I mean, that's really the case. Todd is the one. Todd and Zach really watch his show religiously when it was on. I remember they watched the series finale when it originally aired, and they gave me so much crap for so long for not having watched this show. And now I'm the one that's on the sideshow making Adam watch it. So
well, you've seen this season way more than I have now. Like, I've seen this season all the way through now 3 times. But you're on another level.
This is like my 5th time through the first season.
Yeah, and what I've always told people is, like, if you're starting Breaking Bad, okay, just get through the first season. It's kind of a slog, and it's obviously great anyway. But it's like it does not do justice to the rest of the show. It's like, get through the first 7 episodes, and then it really starts going.
Mm-hmm.
And So I think Adam's going to love it if you're really that into this season.
Yeah, I definitely a lot more invested into this season, especially after being dedicated and buying the season on Amazon.
There you go.
Borrowing that box set there for me, bud. But anyway, looking forward. I've been really excited every week, and we hadn't done it for 2 weeks, and I was like, man, I need to get back to doing the sideshow. I was like really looking forward to today all day. I was just thinking about I need to watch Breaking Bad, and my wife was like had to go do some errands. I'm like, honey, it's almost 7 and I have a 50-minute episode I have to watch before the show starts. And so I just got done with it. So I'm pretty jazzed.
Oh, nice.
I just got done like 5 minutes ago before we started pushing play.
Well, then let's get to it. Let's break down Breaking Bad. Let's get into this.
Break down that synopsis, my friend.
Yeah, so here we go. Breaking Bad, season 1, episode 7, the season finale, entitled A No Rough Stuff Type Deal.
Nice.
I said that very eloquently. Did you like that?
It is.
Okay, here's our summary. Walt is enjoying the life of illegal activity, and so is Skyler. Jesse is trying to sell his house because he is haunted by the human sludge. Walt comes by to check on his recovery after his encounter with Tuco, and also informs Jesse of the deal made after Walt's encounter with Tuco. Jesse freaks on Mr. White for several reasons. 1, Tuco is insane, and 2, there's no way to procure enough pseudo to produce the amounts Walt has promised. At the junkyard rendezvous, Tuco is not happy Walt and Jesse don't have what was promised, and also isn't really happy that he had to drive so far. And he's even more not happy after Walt talks him into still giving him all the money so they can increase production. Walt has an idea to make the meth without needing pseudo, but they need new supplies. Yes, science! While Jesse shops, Skyler has her baby shower where Marie gives a white gold tiara. When Skyler tries to return the impractical gift from her impractical sister, she discovers it was shoplifted. Skyler almost gets arrested, and Marie refuses to admit there's a problem. Jesse finds everything on Walt's shopping list but methylamine, a chemical necessary to make this work. Instead of paying someone to steal it for him, Walt has the idea they steal it themselves. They're horrible thieves, but also effective. They're ready for a whole weekend of cooking while Skyler thinks Walt is at a Navajo sweat lodge. Except the RV won't start. So they move production into Jesse's basement during an open house. Jesse chases them away and says the house is no longer for sale. They have a successful cook of 4.5 pounds, which is more than expected. Back at the junkyard, Tuco is thrown off when the new product is blue, but it is still tight. Blue, yellow, pink, just keep bringing me more of that. When one of Tuco's boys tries to sound tough, a high-as-a-kite Tuco snaps on him and wildly beats him up. They pick up the unconscious thug, get back in the car, and leave Walt and Jesse wondering what kind of deal with the devil they just made.
The pin is blue.
So, Adam, this is a first time in a while watch. You remember the heist. What did you think of the episode?
Oh, man, it's great. I think the best part of it is Tuco because he is just like Matt Damon. Like, what show are you in? Like, that's what it seems like. Like, that's exactly what it is. We figured out who was the most punchable face of the entire show so far. It's that Gonzo guy or whatever. I don't know his name, but thank you Amazon Prime for pushing that up there. But he's definitely the most punchable face. I think you should add Tuco for most guys beat up in an season because it's like up to 2 now, at least 2 or 3. I really dug this episode. I think there was some really fun like bits and pieces here. I think we're gonna have some overlap on some of our categories. However, it's gonna make it a good conversation because there are some really fun little nuggets in here that and hey, the women do love the bad boys apparently. Breaking the law, as it were.
Todd, what makes this a great season finale?
It's a great season finale because it's not a typical ending of a season, but it still works, and it establishes something that you can build on in future seasons. Like the scope with which you view the show at this point is so small, and I mean, it's almost like you have no idea of where it could honestly go. It's like, these are like the main players in the show, but they're not. But you could see how it expands from like someone small like Crazy Eight to Tuco, and then what you can imagine is above him, because there is always a hierarchy in these kind of businesses. And I that's what I think makes this episode special. And you start to see just how dark some of these characters can be.
Yeah. I something to remember is this is only a 7-episode season. The rest of the seasons, I think, are 13 episodes. Todd, is that right?
Yeah,
except the last one is 2 8-episode parts.
Right.
And this one was the writer's strike shortened season.
I did have a question on that.
Yeah.
So I think my favorite, I'm comparing the two shows that I have watched now from that really got affected by the writer's strike.
Yeah.
How long a gap was Breaking Bad season 1 and season 2?
Ooh.
That's the question I want to ask, because I think Heroes has probably one of my favorite first seasons of all time. But then season 2 was the next year, and this writer's strike totally ruined the show, because it was kind of a quickly the strike's over, we need to rush out a product to meet a deadline. And
it was almost exactly a year after this one aired that the first episode of season 2 aired.
Okay, so that maybe so maybe people actually cared about season 2.
Well, and one of the things, Adam, that you'll see is when we start season 2, there is a definite vibe that the first couple episodes are wrapping up what they were wanting to do in season 1.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so there's gonna be a little bit of that at the start of the second season.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Okay.
What I love about this, especially this season finale, and really this season in general, is you get a lot of that vibe, kind of similar to you got from Barry, in that it's starting in, like, it's intense, but at the same time, it's almost playing comedy at times. Like, it's almost playing a few for laughs, but it's to draw you in, so it can just increasingly get darker and darker and darker as it continues on. So I think that's a really cool part about this. Let's go to we've kind of been referencing a few things here. Let's go to what the best scene of this episode is. And Todd, you're our guest, so
Welcome
you get to
aboard.
go first. What's the best scene of this episode?
Don't pick mine.
I really like Walt and Hank drinking and smoking in the backyard.
Oh, that's a good conversation. Yeah,
and
good call.
Because it like I know Terry's talked about how like they're having one conversation, but Walt is having a different conversation on top of it, and Hank doesn't know about that. And this is another one of those things. He's just like, what? He's like, what could be legal next? And if we were drinking this in the 1930s, we'd be breaking the law and stuff like that. It's just a really cool scene, and Hank actually not really cracking any jokes for once in a scene. Like, he's actually being serious and like just enjoying the company of his brother-in-law, which he doesn't do very often.
Yeah, I really like that scene too. That's a great one. It's actually kind of timely because weed is actually legal now.
It's true.
In New Mexico, which would have been completely different for Hugo. We've talked about that as well, kind of whole stance if it was just taking place a couple years earlier. But I really like that. I thought it was a good comparison because they bring in the reference of the cigars, the Cubans being illegal, and then it's like, well, what else could be there? And it's just a really good kind of feeling each other out. Well, Walt's feeling each other out and seeing what's kind of getting prying for some information there too. And it's just a good little conversation and figuring out, feeling each other out. So I like that scene a lot. That was definitely one I had thought about.
Yeah, it's one I had written down too. And you make a good point, Todd, that you have Hank not cracking jokes for once.
Cool.
Yeah. And you get kind of an honest, sober Hank, even though he's sitting there having a drink, has a cigar in his hand. But it's like when you get that when it's just Hank and Walt, because he doesn't have to put on a show for Walt. I mean, he knows Walt doesn't care about his wisecracks and his, tomfoolery, his hijinks, but you also have some other things at play that we'll find out about in the second season of why that is a more of a sobering moment for him as well. So,
and I also like. Well, I mean, I think that Hank lets his guard down mainly because he's, Walt's like, hey, actually, can I have one of those cigars? And he's like, is that a good idea? And he's like, dude, I already have lung cancer. He's like, pretty much touche. And he's like, well, smoke up.
How many beers do you think he had before asking for the hard stuff? Because there's probably a lot of
few.
Yeah.
That was my favorite quote of the episode. It was like, you got any stronger than beer?
Yeah. That's why I brought out my whiskey too. I was like, I gotta have some whiskey to in honor of this episode. So,
Adam, what's your best scene?
So I got to go with the first scene in the junkyard when Jesse and Walt, he brings out that goofy. I know it's like his iconic thing, but seeing that fedora for the first time with those sunglasses, it's kind of goofy looking when he first puts it on, because it's totally out of, you're seeing Walt from the beginning. It's definitely out of character, but it's great. I love how there's Jesse, the street savvy, kind of knows all the lingo, and he actually just. Aaron Paul comes across really great in this episode. I think this is probably his best performance as Jesse here. And I like how he's like, the whole conversation about being in a shopping mall or getting, I can't remember everything he mentions, but like just that about being in the junkyard. I love that little back and forth. And you see Tuco for the first time, and you see Heisenberg kind of match and kind of surprises Jesse there too. So it's just a great scene. I like that a lot.
This is a non-criminal's idea of a meetup.
Yeah,
that is a great one. That is a great one.
Yeah.
I think you also the other one I had written down is the final scene where they're back at the junkyard too, and you see just how insane Tuco can be, and it reminds me, and now Adam, I will have to send it to you, a YouTube video I found recently where they put in Tuco into Avengers Endgame as the one that steals the Infinity Stones, and he crushes it and takes a snort. It's like, oh yeah, blue, yellow, pink, whatever, just bring me more of that. And then he ends up with Thor's hammer at some point too, and
nice.
And beats the crap out of Thanos, and it's like, nobody deals crystal in the South Valley but me. And while Thor is sitting in the back, I knew it.
He's inevitable.
It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I think the other one we got to mention is the heist. It is the most bumbling idiot moment of the season since the first episode, really. And yeah, and
I think we just need like Benny Hill to play like
exactly
play over the overlap of it.
Yeah. All right, Adam, the Ken Wins douchebag award goes to
Marie. I think that's a pretty good one. Her kleptomania, klepto person there. Obviously, it was foreshadowed from when she's stealing those sneakers, getting that little quick little It's actually kind of a good comparison. Like, what is legal and illegal? Kind of doing the Cuban thing with Hank, but you also have Marie who's not admitting to stealing stuff because it's for the baby or it's something for her, getting that little self gratification for herself too. So, but in a sense, for that plays off with Skylar, it is kind of a douchebag move because she got arrested or held in captivity in that guy's office, kind of against her will. Kind of a weird compliance scene. Comparison would have been kind of weird if that actually happened, but that's kind of what I have down.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's what I had down too. If I had to come up with someone else, maybe the guy that's being really pushy and insistent to see the basement during the open house.
Oh, he's great.
It's occupied. How can it be occupied? It's a basement.
I picture that guy as Uncle Frank from Home Alone. Like, I don't know why. I was like, that Uncle Frank? Like, see Chicago?
That's a good call. Todd, what'd you have?
I mean, I just wrote down. I mean, the prospective buyer, this guy you were talking about, Terry, and the jewelry store owner, because
Well, yes.
I mean, yeah, I mean, his office is a dank storeroom, as she says, and I mean, as someone who has been on a jury for an unlawful imprisonment, that's way worse than petty theft. Like, I mean, he's like straight up like capturing her and putting her in his office, like, and
a pregnant lady too.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that makes you pretty much a douchebag.
He would be screwed if she lost that baby.
Yeah.
He would be screwed.
The Pinkman Stickman Award. I go first on this one.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna go with Walt's car.
Cool.
Gear shift. just the car. I mean, the way that thing was shaking, it kind of looked like we had a tectonic situation on our hands. But no, the car. The car
good
is
suspension in that car. Definitely good suspension.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. Good brakes too. Todd, or no, Adam's next.
Yeah, I think it is Walt, and I was like thinking, I was waiting until he actually made a reference to the kind of the joke I'm like, because nothing says to get a hard on when you breaking the law on school grounds. Yeah, that's not definitely it's his reference of like that's what it excites him now is the breaking the law, that kind of feeling of the being the bad boy of stuff. So it's Walt here. So.
And 2 parking stalls away from a police car. That's the other great part about
Ballsy.
Todd.
I said Walter Jr. because the only time you see him, he's got the camera and he's like creeping down some lady's blouse. He was trying to get some. I don't know who that lady was, so it might get a little incestuous. But Walter Jr., I think he may have had a chance with that lady.
I get that home video had a little sex in it.
Oh, that's good stuff. That is good stuff.
So that's a great call. Yeah, who was that lady? That's the bigger question, because not reference. And how did she not see that he was pointing the camera like a couple feet away from him, like from her? That's kind of oblivious.
I mean that makes that a pretty great baby shower. I mean, you've got a girl with a blouse that you want to see down, and you've got the principal that has an ass like an onion. So I mean, it was a place for players right there.
and a Shania Twain reference too,
and another Shania Twain Shania Twain is the stick man of this episode. Let's really be honest. Maybe of the season. You know what? That's it. That's my season stick man. Shania Twain.
I respect the pick.
Best new face of the episode goes to who, Adam?
The realtor, Beth Bailey.
Yeah.
And I like how she's like Febreze. That's a clutch move because she pulled that Febreze pretty much out of thin air. She's probably a magician. Goes to the Michael Scott School of Magic. But I loved how she pulled that the Febreze out and started doing this little spray. Little weird though, she didn't carry her phone, because how are you supposed to make a sale if you don't have your phone on you?
That is
a bad moment. And that was a really fast setup of that open house sign and the ribbon and stuff like that, because it plays off like it happens like back to back, because they call right as they get everything downstairs and she's already setting up with the sign already in the ground. So she's fast at her job. She's really about making quick sales. She didn't have to
set very much up. She even mopped the floor. Like on the first, when they were showing the house, like they're like standing in the gunk.
Yeah,
bit of a fixer.
It's
got great bones.
Yeah, that was one of the dumbest things said.
That was one of the dumbest.
I had too.
Yeah, I had her down too. She was either going to be the best new face or the douchebag. I couldn't decide. I went there. She kind of had a punchable face too. She just was one of those like fake cheery people that you just want to be like, no.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Todd, who was your best new face?
So I didn't really have anybody that I recognized from being in something else, other than Jesse's wearing an Arizona Sun Devils shirt, Arizona State Sun Devils. So my best new face, hey, that guy is Sparky the Sun Devil. That was on Jesse's shirt.
Well,
because I mean that just seems totally out of character for Jesse too.
Well played.
Sports, reference, yeah.
All right, favorite minor character. I'll go first. It goes to Tuco's big crony. The one that while the guy's getting beat up and Walt thinks for a second to intervene, he's like, nah, just, let him do his thing.
Yeah. That one's Gonzo.
Stay away. Is that Gonzo? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that one Gonzo. Okay, yeah, my bad. Yeah.
That was
IMDb has him flipped for some reason, but yeah, that's Gonzo.
Okay. Yeah, just
yeah, he's awesome. I had him written down too.
Yeah, he's one that I had thought about too, but I will take Uncle Frank getting his vacation home or his summer home from Chicago and Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's going to be the realtor who just wants to see the basement, make sure that it looks good down there. He wants to set up his movie room. I'm going to go with him as my favorite new face, even though we don't really see his face. We just hear his voice.
All good. The cow house. Dumbest thing said. I may have spoiled one of them already, but Adam.
Yeah, you did spoil it. Bit of a picture, but good bones. Especially if you knew what kind of bones were in that tub before it seeped through. It's great. I like it a lot. It's really funny, but yeah, it's a little bit of a fixer because so that it just made sense. That's the one that stuck out to me here because Jesse didn't really have any of his classic lines. So he was very restrained this episode.
Other than yes, science.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah,
that is a good one. Todd.
So I had a couple more things written down too. One is quoting the guys in lockup that say, "Yeah, it's all going to be illegal next year when Willie Nelson's president." That's. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's an exaggerated quote, but it's pretty awesome. And the other one is, basically, Jesse in the last scene, he's like, "It may be blue, but it's the bomb." Basically, right after Walt says, "Hey, yeah, it's blue, but it is just as chemically pure," and he says the exact same thing over his shoulder, which is the exact same thing that No Doze does. That gets him, beaten to a pulp by Tuco. So, I mean. Jesse's just sounded even more dumb because it's coming out of Jesse's mouth.
It's a valid point. Yeah, in a similar sense, my cowhouse dumbest thing said is just remember who you work for, because that he paid for that one. That was not a smart thing to say.
So that's what I'm saying, and Jesse did the same thing. He could if Walt cared, he would have looked back at him and been like, "What?"
Yeah. Good call. He's like, yeah.
All right. Do either of you have any problems and outdated things other than leaving the flip phone in the car while you're a realtor trying to sell a house?
Yes.
Go for it, Adam.
So how long did Jesse have that black eye from the first episode? But Tuco speeding did not last even half an episode. He was up and walking. Yeah.
He couldn't even stretch though. You could still tell.
Well, after that one scene, he looked pretty limber. He looked a lot less beat up and bruised. Then I don't know. Well, I guess I don't know. It seemed like a lot more time been in between. Maybe it was a couple hours in between the beatings from the first one. But we kind of talked about the Jesse's black eye and stuff like that too with Crazy 8. Let's see, what else did I have? Oh, and then did Blue Chew get its name from the blue crystal that Walt did? Is it because it is the bomb? I don't know.
That's interesting. Yeah,
I don't know.
It's the bomb, yo.
That would be funny if they started using that. Just Aaron Paul's the spokesman.
That would be pretty. That would make a lot more sense than what was it? The pop crackers that they were in the commercials for. A year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Todd, do you have anything for that?
Outdated, just like home video cameras. I guess.
Yeah, good call on that. Yeah, you just use your phone now.
Yeah.
To look down people's shirts. Okay. Todd, we're going to you first on this one because I'm really curious what you're going with as your midlife crisis moment.
Oh yeah, this is good.
Well, I had a couple of things I wrote down. One of which is when you're sitting in some sort of meeting and you're just droning out, thinking about anything else, like Immaculate Grid, the Oscar race, or I don't know, getting a Tuggy from Shania Twain, or or fondling your wife or whatever. Like that just seems like, yeah, that'd be anything. Basically thinking about anything else but the meeting. Yeah, I've done that before. And the other one is like when Walt is talking to Tuco, and Tuco starts like estimating numbers and stuff, and then you just start spitting out like fractions and percentages because you did it all in your head immediately. Yeah, I mean that definitely I can relate to that. I don't know if that's midlife crisis or just me, but you know.
I can't relate to that. No,
it's a relatable moment for sure.
Yeah.
Adam, how about you?
So I gotta go to the baby shower, especially if you've had a couple of them. The gifts do take a long time to get going, and you gotta act excited for them. And when they said diaper genie, I immediately like those things suck. I do not like the diaper genie. It was not a positive rating on Amazon for me. So I don't know. I guess they work good if you use them correctly. Probably, maybe it's user error, but yeah.
All right, I've got two things here. One, I mean, being a teacher, I really felt for Principal Carmen in the opening scene as she's trying to explain this, and the parents are freaking out at her completely irrationally, and she's just like, "What?" I could tell in her face, she's like, "Why am I having to explain any of this? Like, what's the one thing that the one parent brings up?" It's like, what is it? I heard back in this other school that this happened, and it turned out they were all having LSD. It's like, LSD? When were you going to tell us about the LSD? And I'm like, oh, poor Principal Carmen. I felt for her in that moment. And the other thing, I mean, okay, can you relate to me on this? A Navajo sweat lodge for the weekend kind of sounds pretty cool. I mean, that sounds like a legit way to spend a weekend.
Relaxing without the kids and family.
Just yeah. Real therapeutic, and it's the ancient Navajo herbs that smell like meth. Yeah. All right, LVP, Adam.
AAA pumping services. Now those toilets were really crappy. First of all, there was no service sticker. So how would the customer know that we actually service those toilets? That company is just giving money back because they're going to call and complain, and they're like, "There's no signature here." They're going to have to credit the money back. They're going to lose so much money by having those toilets out there. Maybe that's why they're behind a locked gate. But AAA pumping service.
I was hoping this was going to come up. If you didn't bring it up, my either my LVP or MVP was going to be the cord tying together the port-o-potty. So
that's the best fake knot I've ever seen in my life, by the way, around that toilet. And also that guy is completely oblivious because even they're right under a light, so you can see the shadow because those things have some transparency to them. So he's completely oblivious. Plus, they're really good about they squeeze between a toilet to get that thing tied. That's that guy is also an LVP candidate too. That security guard, because how did he not know he was getting tied up?
Right. Now, I do have to say, you mentioned something. Aren't all those having crappy service? I mean,
I hate when they do that. I hate these jokes so much.
Yeah, I mean,
yes, it's a shitty job.
Someone's got to do it.
Yes, this is true. It smells like money to me.
I'm sure you've heard them all. Yeah. All right, Todd, what's your LVP?
My LVP is the Smurfs, because you can only get like a few boxes at a time. Like, how many drugstores are there in a 200-mile radius, and that you have to drive all the way out to get a few boxes worth? I don't know. It just seems like they're not really that efficient. And like, why can't Jesse just go buy like cough medicine himself?
Because they limited the sales, like only a maximum of so much can be purchased by one person at a time, because this is what you can do with it.
Well, yeah, and so you just go to multiple drugstores and get your buddies to do the same thing. Like, I mean, why does he have to drive 200 miles? Like,
I don't. Well, who knows how much it actually takes to make a pound of this stuff? Yeah.
Well, he said you're going to need like 400 boxes or something to make the 4 pounds or something. So I don't know.
All right, my LVP is jeweler offices.
Yeah.
Dank storerooms.
Honorable mention though is Walt's ski masks. Like, don't grab these.
Yeah, that was his Fight Club moment. You were robbing places in ski masks. What did you think was going to happen?
It was like it's a robbery during Christmas time. Apparently, green and red. Pretty good.
Todd MVP.
Yeah, Taco Cabeza.
Yeah,
because Jesse, half of his deals are done at Taco Cabeza. Nobody gets shot.
Nobody gets shot. It's public and there's no shooting. It's open 24 hours.
It's open 24 hours.
Yeah.
Nobody gets shot at Taco Cabeza. Yeah, just the way he says those lines is just brilliant. My MVP is Skylar's survival skills. Faking labor to get out of getting arrested.
Only a pregnant person could do that.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point, Adam.
Can I go back to change my dumbest thing said? Please.
Only a pregnant person could fake labor and get away with it. Yes, you're right. Yeah, that's.
I respect that you making fun of me. I respect it. Good job.
You earned that one.
I did. I walked right into
the crappy job you didn't earn, but that one you did. All right, what's your MVP?
You for pointing that. No, I'm gonna go with Aaron Paul in this one. I clearly think he is by far has like kind of found his way in this show. He was very restrained in this one, and he was my like electric person in this episode. Like he was he brought like a lot more like charisma to it, but also like he kind of held his own too, and kind of felt just like as cool as Walt in those like in every scene. I really liked Aaron Paul a lot in this episode, and I felt like he was probably the best acted performance in the show, in this episode at least for me.
Nice. Yeah, good call. All right. Well, it is the end of the season, so we got to talk about some end of season awards. But before we do that, just to update everyone on a few tallies we have going. The end of season Walter White body count is 2 drug dealers, a car, a custodian's career, 1 drug dealer's hideout, and a lock.
Yes, I like how we're just an inanimate object.
By the way, MVP Thermite. I mean, that's a pretty great one too. And the end of season Jesse ass kicked count is remains at 2. Remains at 2. Okay. Well, with that, the end of season awards, we're going to roll through these pretty quick. A lot of this we've already talked about. Todd, why don't you start us off? Your favorite scene of this whole season? You watched it through with us. You've been listening along. What's your favorite scene of the season?
It's probably like when Jesse cooks with Badger. Like that montage I think is just awesome because it plays back to the time when Walt first cooked, when Jesse was all screwing off, but now Jesse is like the master now, and and of course Badger because he's the best.
The only thing that could have brought that more full circle is if Badger brought a bag of Funyuns.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. I'll go. No, I don't want to go next. Adam, you go next.
So I got to go with the plate reveal with Crazy 8 breaking that plate and then putting all the pieces together. And I did mention this before too. It comes across like a horror like themed because how he opens up the basement door and he's completely black shadows because the darkness has to take over in that moment there. And yeah, it's just a great scene, especially the whole lead up to that scene when he's like, wait a second, let me check this plate, and he's like, oh, that's a revelation. Like I was feeling sorry for this guy. I was thinking maybe letting him go, but he has to end it because he knows where it's going to go. So that's just a great segment of multiple scenes put together. But yeah, like the plate reveal is a great scene.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to say that, so that's why I had you go first, because that's what I had written down too. But I've got two others that I want to shout out. The first showdown between Walt and Tuco, where he blows up the hideout. That's just awesome. And like he has to blow up the room for Tuco to be like, all right, man, respect, and give him what he wants and actually listen to him. That, and then the first scene of the entire season, the first scene of the show, when he's sitting there with the camcorder, giving his confession, but this is not a confession. And he's standing there with no pants, with a shirt on, and a gun and a video camera, and sirens are coming towards his RV, and you have no idea what the hell is going on. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant.
I also wrote down the intervention scene.
Oh, the intervention scene is great. Yeah. Shout out to cheese platters.
Yeah. See, Hank does some. He like that's what everyone waits for someone to do, is like be the first one to grab the food so that everyone can start grabbing it. He then wasted no time. He's like, oh, he's here. Boom. I'll start it out.
And then Marie shoots him a crazy look. It's like, we brought the food. Are we not going to eat it? All right. The Ken Wins Award. I mean,
Ken wins.
Ken wins, obviously. But if there's someone else you want to shout out, I'm going Hank.
I put Marie.
You put Marie.
Yeah.
Bogdan. And Walter Jr.'s friends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call, too. Bogdan. Shout out Bogdan. That's good.
Great eyebrows.
The walking eyebrows.
Eugene Levy wishes he had those eyebrows.
The Pink Man Award. I mean, we named it the Pink Man because right off the bat, the first thing we see from Jesse is a pretty great moment. But
Walter White has got it in twice, at least.
Won the meth whore.
Well, that's true. Pink Man has.
Oh, he's got it in twice.
Multiple moments there, but yeah, you got a couple you can go with, but it's one of those two for sure. The best new face of the season. I mean,
you guys mentioned what, Badger?
Yeah, Badger is one that I actually have seen somewhere else before. So, and Todd, yeah, what'd you say?
Gretchen, right? I've definitely seen her before.
Oh yes, Gretchen, of course. Victoria, how are you? Yeah, that's another great one.
And Tuco, now I like look back and I see Tuco and everything. Like he's in The Rock and he's in Training Day, and I mean he's in like all these things. Like you see him, it's like, oh, it's Tuco now.
Yeah, I have I'll say Adam Godley, who is Elliot Swartz.
Oh, Elliot, yep, that's another good one.
Yeah, I've seen him in a couple things before too.
I'm also gonna go with the Clapton guitar, because probably if you've seen a Clapton anything, you've probably seen him playing that guitar. So it is something that you could recognize. Favorite minor character of the season?
Hugo.
Oh, Mr. Archuleta.
Mr. Archuleta.
Yeah,
he's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. Yeah, because I knew his name was Hugo before his name was revealed to be Hugo.
That is a good point. I've got Tuco. I mean,
yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah,
it's hard to pass up Tuco.
I love Marie. Like, I mean, you learn in this season that she is absolutely loyal to the family to a fault, and that's one thing you got to respect about Marie, even though she's crazy.
Even though she's crazy. Well, there's one other thing that you know for sure about Marie. And that is that her aura is purple.
I think Walter Jr. too is also mentioned here too a couple times.
He's got some great moments. He really does. All right, the cow house dumbest thing said. Besides the cow house, the house for the cows
where they live.
Yeah. the cows. That's how it's said.
Mine isn't actually from the show; it's from your sideshow. I listened to one of the episodes again, and
God, here we go.
Adam called called Captain Cook Captain Crab, and he's like, you know what's even worse is I even wrote down Captain Crab. He's like, maybe I'm hungry. I want some seafood.
Yep. My wife just went to Captain Crab a couple days ago, and there's a moist towelette on the desk. Damn it, that's a great one. That's Captain Crab or Captain Crab.
All right. Well, Adam's thinking the one I'm gonna go with is in the intervention, all the metaphors Hank tries to give, like getting a pinch hitter in the bottom of the ninth, or play it, playing out the hand because you could lose a whole bunch of them, but eventually you'll get the full house. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, you get where I'm coming from? And Walt just says something. No. So that's mine. Adam, what do you got?
Helicopter bitch is a good one. If you're going with something that Hank said, you got to go. Breath can knock a buzzard off a shit wagon. Oh, that's a good one. Does the Pope shit in his hat? That's a good one too. Let's see. Let me go back here.
Ass like an onion makes me want to cry.
What's the one? It hits like a bull with his balls tied together or something.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Crawled out of microwave.
Kicks like a bull with his balls wrapped in duct tape. That's what it is.
Go.
Or Skinny Pete's just response to like, is this guy okay? Is Tuco okay? Yeah. Get 2 nuts in a ball sack. What? that was pretty dumb.
Okay. The midlife crisis moment of the season.
I really like that in Elliot's house, that one room. They just hit all the books in there. It was like, yeah, it could be our movie room. I was like, that would be pretty awesome. I was like, yeah, one day I'll buy a house like that. Mm-hmm. At least a big old room dedicated to it.
Mine is more excited about what you're teaching than anyone you are teaching.
See, mine's kind of related. I said when you get super excited to talk about something that you're passionate about when you were like in a bad mood before that. Like, like Walt's like really busy doing something, and then he's just like Jesse asked him about the science behind it, or what are you doing? And then he's like, oh, this is thermite, and blah blah blah. And he does that a lot, and it's like at work, someone I hear someone mention like Uncut Gems or something. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be talking to this person now.
Do you ever just look at him and go, it is fascinating, like Walt does when in his chemistry class?
It's the first day of your life.
We also got to mention engaging walks in nature is also a good one that we need to mention. Shaving hair bald, and then in the staring fondly into a mirror and doing something irrational. I think that's what we kind of pushed into. That's a power rankings episode. We'll talk about that later. And then I think it's what was it? I had it wrote down here. Pretty funny. Running away from Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes. Yes.
Just like
biker gang of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah. And then Hank's swim trunks at that when he was wearing those swim trunks that one time. Yeah, that's definitely, and those shades too.
Yeah, those are gonna get him Shania Twain.
Yeah, giving her a tuggy.
LVP of the season. Mine is Ego. Ego. That is the LVP of the season. That is the LVP of the show. I mean, the show does not happen unless Walt has this insane ego that he can't control.
My LVP is that I have yet to continue the show after this awesome first season. So,
you will be.
I will be.
You will be.
Oh,
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
My LVP is Skinny Pete because he just completely abandons Jesse in that moment in Tuco's lair.
What are you talking about? He was like, "Yo, cool down, essay."
Because it's totally what he did. He just stood there. He's like, yeah. This is that crazy cellmate I wanted to introduce you to.
2 nuts in a ball sack. That's a good one.
Yeah, science. That's my
MVP. Science.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys got?
For what? That was your MVP?
That was my MVP. Science.
Oh, you
science
cut
is
out.
my MVP.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, science. That's my MVP.
I'm gonna I have a couple written down. One is the coin, because the coin is sacred. And
coin.
Good call.
And the other one is carbon.
Carbon.
Everything's made of carbon.
I got fulminated mercury. Fulminated.
Tweak of chemistry.
With a tweak of chemistry.
This is not meth.
All right, Adam, you have once again reached the end of season 1. We're about to get into season 2. What is going on? What do you think's gonna happen next?
What is going on? So Giancarlo Esposito, he's gonna come in at some point. No, this is a bad thing. There's always those conspiracy theories that your technology knows what you're doing, especially when you're like watching Breaking Bad, and then all of a sudden you're going through like what's that app called? Dang, I can't remember what it's called. No, well, TikTok. That's it.
Oh,
midlife crisis moment. Damn it.
TikTok.
Going through the TikTok or the Facebook video streams, and it's like, oh, Breaking Bad. Oh, yeah, it's always the Giancarlo Esposito scenes, and they're like introducing. I'm just like, nope, gotta fast forward to that. I can't be stopping on that reel.
Yep.
But so what's going to happen next is that Tuco's going to do some more of their drugs, which is a bad business model. You don't want to do your own supply. But I'm looking forward to how where Heisenberg and Jesse go above him and see what's the next guy above Tuco. I'm assuming, because how many seasons? There's only 5 seasons, right?
5 seasons.
So Tuco is like a mid-level boss, probably. So he's going to be like the mid-season finale. So about episode 6 or 7, Tuco. Will Tuco survive next season? I don't know. I think Tuco's boss is going to be revealed about season 7 or episode 7. That's what my guess is. Probably not.
All right.
But yeah, right on, man. That's like your opinion. It's like your
opinion, man.
Yeah.
Todd, how fun is it to listen to someone who has no idea what's coming next?
It's entertaining.
But it's so cool, like, to watch it with someone who's never watched it before, or at least remembers nothing about it. Like, we're gonna get into the stuff you know nothing about. This is the best part, Adam. This is the best part.
Yeah, honestly, I've never seen season 2 or anything else after that. I'm truly like have no idea where it's gonna go. Like Barry, we had our guesses and our kind of jokes about it, like what could happen. But this, I honestly just don't know, because the only thing I've ever like really seen outside the show was that first season and this Giancarlo Esposito stuff. That's like only 2 things. My point of reference after having this came out in 2008. It's like it's old now. to the young kids, it's old, but it was at the time where it's like I had never watched it, and it was going through like The Walking Dead and shows that weren't nearly as good as it. That's what I chose to watch at that time, and so I didn't really pay attention to it. So I really have no point of reference from any of the commercials, especially being on AMC, which I watched The Walking Dead quite frequently, and I don't recall any of the trailers or anything for Breaking Bad. So it is going to be completely a blind watch.
Yeah, to avoid spoilers at this point with a show like this is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and that's the weird part too. And I have a feeling that I'm probably going to be more annoyed by Skylar. That's a guess too. I'm not a Skylar's hit or miss for me.
Well, Todd, I know we've already talked about who we think Adam's favorite character from season 2 is going to be. I
suspect season 2 is going to be Adam's favorite season.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible. Now, Todd, we're going to talk a little cryptic here with Adam on, but What do you think Adam will think of the first 30 seconds of season 2?
I don't know.
Like that whole thing. What do you think he's gonna think?
Isn't that the start of every season, though? Kind of.
What? I mean, no. Season 2 is so much different.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be like a scene that's happening later on in the season, and it's gonna be like flash forward back to the beginning.
You're just gonna have to watch to find out.
Stay tuned next week. Find out what I think of it.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm curious to see what you're gonna think of the first 30 seconds.
Put money on it, boys. Put money on it.
And then yes, I agree with Todd on who we'll get there when it comes up. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm excited. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Season 2. You're gonna love season 2. All right.
Breakdown.
Yeah, there it is.
Breakdown. You gotta say it louder now.
There we go.
All right. Well, we've made it. We made it this far, boys. We might as well continue. I cannot wait to dive into season 2. I'm so happy that Todd was able to join us. Hopefully, we can get Zach on one of these episodes and have Todd return again, so we could break down Breaking Bad together.
Breakdown Breaking Bad.
You can never hear it enough. You can never hear it enough.
No, it's a good beat, man.
It's a good tune.
Auto tune it. But anyway, any final things that need to be said before we close it out, boys?
Todd, thank you for being here. It was great having you.
My pleasure. It was
getting the extra perspective in here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, welcome back anytime. And Zach has vowed he will be on. He's trying to think of what his favorite episode from season 2 is, and he's going to volunteer himself as tribute.
My other point of reference, the Fly episode. Is there a fly or a moth episode or something like that? I don't know. That's the only thing. Never mind. I'll shut up. Never mind. Just do your ending quote, and I'll just be over here.
Here we go.
Thinking about what's happening next.
Sit and spin.
Almost drove that off the rails, boys. Glad you.
Why didn't I say sit and spin was the dumbest thing said in the season? I mean,
no, but that's not because it's our ending quote.
And it's a really dumb thing that he said.
That is true.
It is.